like me and you've been playing the guitar a little while, you might get a bit sort of bored of some of the sounds that you're getting from the guitar, from the chords that are played at root position. So we've got the chords like D major and G major and A major and E major, C major, F major. They can all be played at root, and they're nice, they're great. You can use them in songs and they're easy to learn. But for someone who likes creating music, you might like to start experimenting with some different sounds, and that's been one of the major things that's helped me to write melodies and things. Is if you're playing chords that sound different, then you start hearing different melody lines as you're improvising, and it's a great it's a great creative tool to learn and expand your range of chords, basically. So today I'm playing with the capo on fret 5, as you can see. You don't have to do that. You can play these without a capo at all, but you just have to adjust them accordingly. So I'm going to talk about the chords that I'm playing in relation to where the capo is. So if I say fret 5, it's from the capo, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is actually going to be fret 9. But I just find that easier, so we'll talk like that. So yeah, the guitar is kind of set up in a certain way, with the strings tuned to E, A, D, G, B, E. And what that means is that some chords are easier to play than others, because for instance, the one I'm going to talk about today is the G major, which is basically what the guitar is set up in the key of, essentially, because to play a G major, I only really need to push down 2 strings, which is the 2 E strings, and you can play the most simple G major chord by pushing down the 2 E strings and letting your middle finger deaden the A string, so just resting on the A string without pushing it down, and that's a G major chord. And the other simple chord, which is the related minor to a G major, is E minor, and E minor also only needs 2 strings, which is there. So what I'm going to be doing today is playing in the key of G major, but playing some chords that are in that key, including G major, in different places, which is a way to get some nice sort of different sounds. So sort of in terms of yeah, let's make a start. So we've got G major there. Well, what you can do with that chord straight away is, if you're just using those 2 fingers and you're deadening the A string, you can slide it, so you can go up to the 5th fret. You can go up to the 7th fret. It sounds like a G major still, it's just a different sound. So we're at 7th, you can go to 8th, and you can go to 10th. That's really nice, get a nice ring there. Still a G major, just with a different notes played on the 2 E strings. You can even go 2nd fret as well, and it still sounds nice. So yes, that's a really simple one. Slide around with those 2 fingers on the same fret of the E strings, of both E strings. Yeah, so I'll label in the video what the chords are called, but for now, let's do a traditional G major shape. So we've got middle finger 3rd fret on the E string, index finger 2nd fret on the A string, ring finger 3rd fret on the B string, and little finger 3rd fret on the E string. And so that's an original G major chord, but you can play that in different positions. So there's actually 3 places you can play that, which sound nice. At that fret, 3rd fret, you can play that at the 8th fret, which sounds really nice, and you can play it at the 10th fret. three options for where you can play that G major shape. Each of them produces different chords, and I'll label these on the song. So 3rd, 8th, and 10th. Okay, the next chord is a kind of, so just show you a quick one with a C major. So C major I play like this, with the index finger on the 3rd fret, the little finger on the 3rd fret of the A string, so index on 3rd fret of E, little finger 3rd fret of the A string, middle finger 2nd fret of the D string, and index finger 1st fret of the B string. That's how I play a C major. And if you play it like that, the nice thing is you can slide that about a little bit. So you can slide it up 2 frets, so that the top 2 fingers are at the 5th fret instead of the 3rd, which kind of produces a D sus chord. It's used in REM's Man on the Moon song, in the verses. That's a nice little slide, different way of playing a D, which sounds just different. Another way of playing a C, which gives a nice ring to it, is to basically use your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the E string and the A string to push them both down, so you're getting them both to ring. So practice that first. So you're getting them both to ring with your middle finger. Then you put your index finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, so you're actually doing the same sound as an original C major chord, but then these 2 fingers both on the 3rd fret of the B string and the 3rd fret of the E string, and it just gives a nicer ring. Kind of sounds a bit happier than C major chord. And the nice thing about that, I do this in some of my songs, is you can slide that up 2 frets to produce a D major chord at the 5th fret. Again, it's a slightly quirky D major chord, but it sounds really nice. So yeah, that's an option. Now with that shape, there's actually 2 other places you can play that on the guitar where it sounds really nice. One of them is at the 10th fret again, and you can push down exactly the same strings in the same places, but with your top fingers at the 10th fret. And that gives a really nice ring to it. It sounds quite happy, quite like a celebratory chord. And you can bring that down 2 frets to the 8th fret and do the same. So those are 4 places you can play that shape of chord. So once you've learned that shape of chord, it won't take you time to change about the positions that you play it, which is nice. So have a go at learning that. Once you've got the muscle memory of where the fingers go, it's really simple to play it, because you're not moving your fingers at all, they're keeping the same shapes. So that's 4 places to play that shape. So remember, we've covered so far, we've covered the G major, which can be played there, 8th and 10th, and then the C major, or the alternative C major, which can be played again 3rd, 5th, 8th and 10th. Okay, and so yeah, I've covered some chords there. So going back to an original C major shape, which we looked at as well, that can be played at 3rd and 5th, and you can bring that up to the 7th and it turns it into an E minor chord if you keep these two fingers on the same strings at the 7th fret now, and then you can use your index finger 2 frets below on the D string, and that produces an E minor chord, just a different way of playing E minor. As opposed to, sounds very similar, but it's quite nice to slide around between that and then the D major and the C major. So that's some new chords, and yeah, going back to those ones that we were learning at the 8th and the 10th fret, you can play that kind of C major shape, and then transition into the G major shape at the same fret, and then go C major shape at the 8th, and do the same to the G major at the 8th, and then you can also play the G major shape at the 7th, minus the index finger and the ring finger. So that sounds nice. So you can do that transition of the C shape, or the alternative C shape. Those slides of the literally just your 2 fingers on the one on the E string and one on the other E string, at 3rd, 5th, 7th, 8th and 10th. That works at all those frets. So that was, yeah, so I was basically doing 6 strums on each chord there. Time signature is, if you want a simple one, it's 4/4, but technically it's probably 12/8 because there's, or 6/8 because there's, you're counting 6 strums on each chord, or 12 if you were playing for longer on each chord. So those are some chords. I think those are predominantly in the key of G major. The reason I've chosen that is because I said that the guitar is set up in its standard tuning for songs to be played in the key of G major. One of the reasons I put a capo on then is because to suit me and my singing style or pitch, it's better with a capo in G major, and I choose 5 because that brings it up to C major, which is the range that I sing probably best in. So yeah, within obviously the key of G major, E minor is the relative minor. So these are some ideas you can do with E minor. You can, instead of playing just an original E minor, like that, which I do with these two in this case, I give the peace sign rather than the V. Index finger fret 2 on the A, middle finger fret 2 on the D, and little finger fret 3 on the E string, and you get a nice sound. And then you can drop that down to index finger fret 2 on the E string. Okay, so we've got fret 3, fret 2. Then we can do kind of that C major chord where we use our middle finger for both the 3rd fret on the E string and the A string, and the index finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, and that produces a nice sound in itself without any other fingers on. And then you can use your little finger again on the E string, and then drop it down to the index finger on the 2nd fret of the E string. So that's, yeah, so that's a kind of C chord with some different notes in it. And then you can go to an A minor, and I play an A minor 7 here, A minor 7 is middle finger on the D string, 2nd fret, index finger on the B string, 1st fret, and little finger on the E string, 3rd fret. So that's a nice chord. Yeah, and that then you can drop that down to a like that as well. Okay, so continuing. So far we've done the E minor there, little finger on the 3rd fret, to the 2nd fret, and then the C major with these 3 fingers. Doing the same with the 2 index and with the ring finger and the little finger, 3rd to 2nd fret of the E string, and then you can do the same with an A minor 7 shape, like with these 2 fingers. Little finger 3rd on the E to ring finger 2nd on the E, and then again back to little finger 3rd, and the last chord you can do is slide it up to 2 frets, basically slide that position up with, so the A minor 7 with your little finger on the E string 3rd fret, slide it all up 2 frets. Produces quite a nice sound. So yeah, I think that's covered all of the chords I'm going to have a go at in this next sort of improvisation, just to give you some ideas of what you might want to do with them. There's one other chord which was the so we've got the C, slide up to a D, up to the E minor. And you can play the E minor with a little finger on the B string at the 3rd, 5th, 7th fret as well. 7th fret up from the capo. So that chord might feature as well. Okay, I'm going to hit record and have a go at demoing some of the things that you can do with these chords.